Hello and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Is Ben Armstrong right? Will XRP moon in 2024? Okay, let's get into this one. Now, before I do start, I do just want to give a shout out to one of my subscribers who, when I did last drop a video on Ben Armstrong, he did just make me aware of some controversial things that he's been involved with in the past. And so I do just want to make clear, when I am doing this video and I am including this information from Ben Armstrong, I'm not trying to say that I condone him or anything like that, because I don't really know enough about him to say whether he has or hasn't done these things, but it does sound like he has a bit of a shady history. Now, I'm not going to get into that for this video because that's not what it's about, but I do just want to make it clear, me discussing these topics that Ben has addressed isn't me trying to condone his actions, and I'm not trying to condemn them. I don't really know what's happened. I would need to do more research to know one way or the other, but I just want to make it clear that this isn't me in any way trying to validate him or anything like that. I just think at the end of the day, he is someone who is in the crypto space. He has very interesting takes, and these are takes that I do like to look at and give my own opinion on. So let's move on to this. Ben Armstrong, as you guys should know, formerly known as BitBoy, very prominent member in the crypto community. He's done a video and he's basically just explained XRP and then gone on to state why he thinks XRP will moon in 2024, as stated from the headline. Now, I will say this is a very good video. I have to say, the way he's explained everything, I've got to give it to him. Very well presented, very well done. I think this would be good for the average person who doesn't know about XRP if they wanted to learn about it, or in a nutshell, I think this would be a very good video to present to someone for them to get themselves basically educated about Ripple and XRP. But then I want to get into the main point as to why he's actually explained why he thinks XRP will moon in 2024. So obviously I'm not going to play the video for copyright reasons. I have bullet pointed the main things that I want to address, so I will point these out and then I will add my opinions to these points. So I'm not going to do these in order, as there's certain things that I want to address in different orders in terms of like their relevance and their importance. So one of the things that he mentioned is Ripple are mentioned with the WEF, which is the World Economic Forum. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the World Economic Forum, but if you want to just quickly do some research about them, they are a very big organization. Very big players are with them, financial institutions, banks, etc., stuff like that. So the fact that Ripple are basically acknowledged by the WEF, it kind of shows you that they are basically a big deal. And we kind of know this already. We already know that Ripple have a lot of partnerships with banks. They talk with central banks. They're actually working with central banks to do CBDCs, that kind of thing. So we already know that Ripple are mingling with, you know, as some people would call it, the quote unquote elites of the world, that kind of thing. So not really that surprising, but yes, again, it does obviously speak to Ripple's stature within the space. It does show you, like, I think it would be a safe thing to say that Ripple is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, crypto company within the crypto space. I would think that's a safe point to make. As I say, if they're not the biggest, they're definitely one of 100%. So of course that shows you that, you know, Ripple would have what would seem like a very bright future ahead of them if they're already with some of the biggest institutions and being recognized by big companies like the World Economic Forum. That would stand to seem that things would go in their favor long term if they already have these kind of acknowledgements and these kind of partnerships, etc., ongoing within their company. So definitely, I think that's a valid point, 100%. I think that's pretty much a safe thing to say. The other thing that he was talking about was the SEC lawsuit to continue business in America. So I think this is actually a very good point. I think the thing is that a lot of people have looked at the lawsuit now and they thought, well, Ripple have got the legal clarity for XRP. It's all game over. That's not necessarily true, right? In terms of the secondary market sales, that was obviously cleared up. So retail holders are fine, right? They're out of the firing line. However, when it comes to institutions, they didn't win that part of the lawsuit. So to a certain degree, there is still kind of a bit of a grey area with regards to that, right? And this is the thing. Although there are little like workarounds that they can do, I think what you've got to understand with this kind of thing, for a big, huge financial institution, are they really going to want to take that kind of risk? Right? It's kind of one of those things where you've just kind of got a bit of a cloud over your head. You've got like a stigma there. And I think until that's completely gone, I do think that will still affect them as a business. And I'm pretty sure, I'm almost certain that Brad Garlinghouse has recently said that they are still having problems with companies in America. Like, they are still finding issues and difficulties with people wanting to work with them. Now, I think that's just because of the lawsuit still ongoing. I don't think it's a thing where they've just saw the lawsuit and they're just like, we just don't want to deal with Ripple at all. I think because the lawsuit is still ongoing, I think they're just scared. Like, we saw what happened with the lawsuit when it originally took place. All the exchanges, except for Uphold in America, just stopped trading XRP, right? They just took XRP out completely. And so this is what it is for other companies. I think they're just looking and thinking, we don't want to risk getting a lawsuit on our hands or getting a fine. We would rather just wait until the coast is completely clear. Like, yes, okay, we could maybe do these little workarounds, but what if the SEC don't like that? What if you don't win this part of the lawsuit and that still remains a problem, and then the SEC come at us saying, we can see what you've tried to do to circumvent, any potential legal recourse, and that's not going to work. That's not going to stick. We can clearly see that you're just trying to maneuver around a legal obstacle. So I think companies will still be a little bit concerned right now. I think they would rather wait until all the smoke is cleared and this lawsuit is just resolved once and for all. So then they can say, okay, 100% now, we can work with you guys, right? We've got no concerns. There's no chance of anything coming back to us. It's all completely over. I think that's a completely valid point. I think that makes complete sense. I don't know what's going to happen. It's very possible that they could be settling the lawsuit. I know there was a meeting not long ago with the SEC to see what they could do, and that was to discuss a potential settlement. I haven't seen any updates, so I don't know if anything has happened from that. It might be a thing where even if they have decided to look at settling, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be announced right now. It could be that they don't announce it for like another few months or something like that. So don't think that that necessarily means that just because we haven't heard anything right now that it hasn't happened. We don't know. Now, that's not to say that they have settled or they haven't. Again, I don't know. Time will tell. But yes, I do think once that's out the way, I do think that will clear a very big hurdle with companies wanting to work with Ripple. I do think that will definitely be beneficial to Ripple and XRP from there. Now, the other thing that he mentioned was in regards to hosting a platform for CBDCs. And this is another one of those things where Ripple and XRP do get a lot of hate. And I do like the way Ben explained this, because this is something that people need to understand. So he said, Ripple have a platform. They host a platform for CBDCs via the XRP ledger. Now, he said this doesn't mean that they advocate for it. It's just something that they supply. And that's the thing that I think people need to understand with this. And this is where a lot of crypto holders, it's mainly like Bitcoin maxis who say this kind of thing, but they try and knock Ripple and XRP because they're like, if you advocate for XRP, you're basically advocating for slavery via CBDCs and stuff like that, right? And this is what I will say to you guys who have anything like that to say. CBDCs are inevitable. Okay, CBDCs are going to happen whether you like it or not. They are going to happen. Ripple are not trying to propose CBDCs. They're just saying, hey, we have a ledger here that can provide CBDC services. So if you want to do this CBDC thing here, maybe you want to do it on our ledger. It's one of those things where it's going to happen anyway. So all Ripple are saying is, hey, our ledger can handle CBDC. So how about you try using our ledger to host your CBDC services? That's it. I don't think you need to look at this as like Ripple are this diabolical company who thought of CBDCs and they're the ones who are trying to advocate for everyone to get involved in CBDCs. No, not at all. I just think they know that the XRP ledger has all the necessary requirements to be able to handle CBDCs. And so they're just taking advantage of their technology, right? That's it. Because at the end of the day, they could just use a different crypto network to host CBDCs otherwise, right? Like, you can use CBDCs on the Hedera hash graph. You could use CBDCs on Ethereum. Like, there's all these other networks that can also have CBDC services. Now, which ones are going to be the best to use will obviously depend on how fast they are, how cheap they are, that kind of thing. Can they scale? There'll be many things and factors as to why they will choose what network they will do CBDCs on. But Ripple are just out here saying, hey, the XRP ledger can handle this kind of service if you guys are interested. So I think that needs to be dropped in terms of looking at it as like Ripple is this evil company who are trying to, get CBDCs in here. No, this is something that the central banks want to do. This is something that they see the technology being able to provide. And this is something that they would want to use the technology for. It's that simple. So, when it comes to this whole thing with the whole CBDCs and all that kind of stuff, people just need to really look past that. But at the end of the day, this is something that's going to be positive for XRP. This is something that's going to be beneficial for Ripple and XRP. And this has always been my mind frame with it. It's something that's inevitable. So at the end of the day, you can either bury your head in the sand and keep complaining and saying how much you don't like it, or you can accept the inevitable and try and capitalize from it. And that's what I intend to do. And that's how I've always looked at it. Because if they don't choose Ripple and the XRP ledger for CBDCs, they will just choose another network to do it. So to me, I just look at it as, okay, well, at least I'm on a network that will benefit from this. And hopefully CBDCs won't be too much of an issue for me, because I will benefit massively from XRP being utilized for that kind of service anyway. Okay, so the next thing that was said was the Ripple IPO that could be on the horizon. Again, we don't really know when this could happen, but it is something that has been being discussed a lot in more recent terms because of the lawsuit that's obviously looking like it's coming to an end at some point next year, possibly. Again, I think the Ripple IPO will have a positive effect. I think that will obviously help in regards to XRP as well. I've already described why in the video before, so I'm not going to go into it at length here, but one thing I will just make, just one quick point is, for some people, if they can't get into getting the shares for Ripple, then they may want to just get into XRP, or if they feel like the Ripple shares start off on quite a high note, they might feel like it's just cheaper to buy XRP instead, as that's the cryptocurrency that Ripple use, and they also have a significant portion of it as well. So yeah, I think the Ripple IPO could definitely be a big factor in regards to XRP's price action. Then we've got him saying about the past performance from the lawsuit, and that's basically talking about the 2021 bull run. And this is something that I've also discussed before, so I completely agree with this. Basically, in the 2021 bull run, XRP was the only top 10 cryptocurrency that didn't actually reach a new all-time high. I think we all can know that it's safe to say that the reason why that happened is because of the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. I think we all know that's exactly why XRP was suppressed and was unable to make a new all-time high. And so because of that suppression that happened due to the last bull run, it should equate to a much bigger exponential rise in the next bull run when it is unshackled, right? Because it didn't get to meet a all-time high in the last bull run, so you would think it's going to make a new all-time high and then some in the new bull run, because it didn't get to have that moment before. So it should be even bigger now. It's like it's been suppressed for so long, held back, and then boom, once it has that moment to really take off, you'd think the price action would be, really significant, right? So I definitely agree with that point of view. I would think the same thing myself. And then this is the one thing that I really wanted to address with you guys, because this wasn't something that I was aware of. This is a very new change, but I do think this makes a very significant impact in regards to XRP. So we know before Ripple had their service called ODL, which was on-demand liquidity. And that was basically the payment service for cross-border payments, right? That's what they called it. It's actually now changed to Ripple payments. They changed that about a month or two ago, something like that. Well, with that change, it isn't actually just a name change. Banks now actually have to hold XRP to use RippleNet and do Ripple payments. Why is that such a big deal? Well, before, when you had RippleNet, you didn't actually have to hold XRP or use XRP, right? You could actually just use RippleNet, but then use RippleNet to use other currencies and stuff like that. So RippleNet was basically Swift. Yeah. So Swift is a messaging system. RippleNet was the messaging system. So you didn't necessarily have to use XRP to use RippleNet. You could actually just make a payment in other currencies, cryptocurrencies, fiat currencies, etc., etc. And RippleNet was just like the messaging platform. But what they're now saying is you have to use, now I don't know if it's you have to use and hold XRP, or if it's just you just have to use XRP, but at the very least you have to use XRP even if you don't have to hold XRP. Now that is massive, because there may have been a lot of companies who were using RippleNet because they were just like, oh well, okay, RippleNet, this is like a new up-to-date version of Swift, and yeah, it's pretty up-to-date. Like, for example, they were using the ISO 222 standard before Swift had integrated to that, because Ripple were ahead of the curve, right? It was a much more updated platform. So they were looking at this kind of stuff and thinking, oh yeah, this is great. But now it's a thing of, hey, if you want to continue to use RippleNet, you know, you've got to use XRP. You've got to use XRP. Now, I think this makes sense anyway from a business stance, because we all know XRP is Ripple's coin, right? It's the coin that they hold. It's the coin that they use for their cross-border payments. So of course they want to start seeing XRP getting more price action, being utilized more, right? So this really completely makes sense, to be honest, but I just think it's a big deal because now XRP is going to be getting a lot more usage. It's not just a thing now where you can just use RippleNet and just continue to use it for other currencies. You have to use XRP, and that is going to help obviously with mass adoption. That is a very big point, and it's a very big game changer in my opinion. So I do think that will have a very big impact on XRP's price now. So I'm definitely interested to see the implications of that starting to come to fruition. I don't know how long it will take for us to see that, but nonetheless, I'm definitely intrigued to see how that goes. And I really do think that will have a very big impact on XRP's price long term. So those are all the points that I've seen from this video and the main points that I want to address. I do think overall all of the points that Ben has made here are completely valid. I do agree with them. I think at the end of the day, with all those points taken into consideration, could this mean that XRP will moon in 2024? I think it's a very big possibility. I think at the end of the day, if we are heading into what does seem like a bull market as it appears so right now, I don't see how XRP doesn't have its moment. I would be very surprised if the whole market takes off and XRP doesn't do some kind of significant price action. So to me, I'm really excited to see how this goes. I do think the catalyst to make the official bull run would be that a Bitcoin spot ETF gets approved. I think that would be the catalyst that gets everybody really excited and the price really, really going. And we're already seeing like, you know, the market's heating up and stuff like that. So it does seem like we're getting into that phase. I think we just need that one catalyst to make it official. And to me, that's what the spot ETF would be. So I think if that is the case and we really do start seeing everything take off like euphoria mode, yeah, I think with all those things that have been mentioned, I do think that XRP has its time to shine. And just to add into this, I've discussed this before, although XRP hasn't got full legal clarity for institutions, it's definitely got legal clarity for secondary market sales, right? So for the general retail holders. So if you're just someone who's getting into crypto for the first time and you start doing your research and you start hearing about how the SEC are suing all these crypto firms and cryptocurrencies, well, the logical choice would be to go into something that's already been through the lawsuit and won, right? Because you know that there's not going to be a second lawsuit that comes through. So you would think, hey, let me get into XRP. It already won the lawsuit, so I haven't got to worry about that coin getting sued anymore. That coin is safe. I think that would be a logical choice. So I think that could also have a big impact. And I think that could mean that XRP gets a much bigger market share than it would have originally, because it's in such a unique position that no other cryptocurrency has ever been in. So it will be very interesting to see how that plays out as well, because I think that could be also a significant factor in regards to how XRP performs. So overall, really interesting points here. As I say, I agree with everything that he said. I think everything that he's mentioned are valid points. So if all these things are taken into consideration, do I think XRP could moon in 2024? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if we go into a bull market, I don't see any reason why that couldn't be right. Time will tell to see how things really do play out, but I'm definitely excited and I will be here to see how things pan out. But what do you guys think? XRP to moon in 2024. Do you agree with this? If you do agree with this, how soon in 2024 do you think XRP can moon? And what do you think it could go to? Or do you not agree with this? Is there any points in this video that you've heard that you have any kind of concern with? And if you don't think it will moon in 2024, when do you think it will moon? And what do you think the price will be when it gets to that price action? Let me know your thoughts, guys. I'd be interested to hear. Thank you very much for watching this. If you did like it, please remember to drop a comment, like, and subscribe. But until next time, take care.